So Arsenal caught off guard without Odegaard.
Off guard without Odegaard, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But in answer to your question,
Mm.
Arsenal or Liverpool, the answer is
Welcome to A Different Corner, a fantasy football podcast. My name's Manish Verma. I'm joined by Dr. Luman Ali, and this is a podcast where basically me and Luman grumble from game week to game week. We're two dads, and we're trying to squeeze in life and fantasy football research at the same time. Luman, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, because Liverpool won again. My wife always says she can tell my mood just by whether we've won or not, and she's right, because when we lose, or when we're playing badly,
It's not a good.
my mood sours. So
Do you have the same? Does it have the same? Does FPL have the same effect on your mood?
Not as much, but there'll be times where something's happened and I'm like screaming inside, which thankfully hasn't happened much this season so far.
Mm-hmm.
But you've always got to be ready for some pain.
Yeah.
How's things with yourself?
Yeah, good. Mine, FPL affected my mood more so than it probably should have this week, because
no.
It's I don't know. Sometimes it does this. Last year, I was just frustrated with myself because I'm like, why am I not doing better? I was just languishing in like 3 millionth, and it was just I just wasn't getting it right every week. This year, actually, having been, and we've spoken about this a lot, Haalandless the whole season, I'm doing all right. And this week, I think I'm the highest, maybe up until the first game week where I did particularly well. I did really well, like compared to the average. I got 68 points. The average was 46. And going into Sunday, I was like, oh, you know what? If I could hit that mid 70s, I would be very happy because I had some players still to play. And I thought, you know what? I could do it. I ended up below 70, and that's not a bad score. It's a very good score. But FPL's making me into a fickle manager and maybe a bit of a fickle man. And I'm wondering whether it does this to other players. Maybe it does to you. But, I for example, this week, I took out a defender, the Kirkes at Bournemouth, and I put in Max Kilman, thinking West Ham at home. I know West Ham haven't been great, but they're playing Ipswich at home. I'm thinking, there could be a clean sheet there. And I went with him. And the reason that's frustrating is, yes, West Ham conceded, but more frustrating is the two players that I was kind of toying up with was Ryan Nouri at Wolves, who I think got a goal and an assist, and then Nathan Collins at Brentford, who I think also got a goal, didn't get a clean sheet, but got a goal. And I would have scored much bigger there. And I'm like, oh gosh, like that's so frustrating. Another frustrating one. I'm a Konsa owner at Aston Villa. Aston Villa have not kept any clean sheets the whole season. But I'm thinking, Man U have been poor. That's a clean sheet waiting to happen. I start him over Dan Burn. Dan Burn gets 8 points. Konsa comes off after in the first half. How many? 11 minutes of play he gets, and Aston Villa get a clean sheet. So I'm there ruining my luck and just. I don't know. It's just making. I got 68 points. So I've got nothing to complain about, but I have got something to complain about.
I don't know. I just think this is the rough and the smooth with FPL. I mean, Ait Nuri is. I challenge anyone to have had the points returns that Ait Nuri's had in the last two games, where he conceded 2 goals against Liverpool, but scored a goal. He conceded 5 goals against Brentford, but a goal and an assist. So it's a freak occurrence, right? And then let's look at Collins, right? Collins, a goal and assist. He got 10 points. But before that, he had a points return of 6 and a 5, but he's had 1, 0, 1, and 2. So very bitty player. And then Newcastle, right? Burn. Um, Burn, that was his first return all season.
Yeah, I know.
Before that, 2-1-1-0-1-0. So come on, you can't beat yourself up too much about it. And how can you beat yourself up when you had Saka as your captain? I mean, let's go through your points
Yeah.
and see why you're so unhappy still with such a great points return.
So yeah, let's start with my big hitter was Bukayo Saka. I was just listening to another fantasy football podcast called Always Cheating, and they called it Saka's Revenge because he was like the sixth most transferred out player in teams because, of course, everyone wants to swap him out for Cole Palmer. But this week, he goes and gets the points, a goal, assist, bonuses, 16 points, but double it for me. 32, and that's the reason, really. That's the differential that I had, I suppose. Because I had Kai Havertz, got me a goal again. Good. He's very good at home, basically. That's the conclusion on Kai Havertz. If Arsenal playing at home, he's a good one to get in. Watkins and Jackson didn't do anything for me. Diego Jota, again, he was kind of there at the start of the season. Then Luis Diaz took over, and now Diego Jota is there again. We'll talk about him in a bit more detail. And actually, one of my signings of the season so far, Ibrahim Konate, he's been just fantastic for me. I think since I've got him in, he's got me 8, 7, and 6. And I want to talk about Liverpool defenders. But that's where my points came. I had Dan Burn on the bench. Fine, I could live with that. You going away to Everton, I thought Everton could score. I could live with that. It's the Kilman one. It's the Consa one that's kind of just frustrated me because I was going into Sunday with really healthy score. I think 63, and I ended up on 68. I was really hoping something from Ollie Watkins and Consa. So yeah, 68 is where I ended up. How about you?
Well, I ended up on 60, and heading into Sunday, I remember this. You had 63 points on Saturday night, and I had 38. But that I had 5 players left to play
Yeah.
on Sunday, and some of them returned. So, David Raya, second game at home on the bounce.
Gosh.
Leicester and Southampton, 0 clean sheets. Need to talk about that in a bit.
Yeah.
Colwill, I bought him in to replace who did I take out? Jarell Quansah. I finally took out Jarell Quansah. I was hoping Colwill might do something, but he didn't. It's one of those where unless you're spending a lot of money on defenders, you can't really expect clean sheets.
Yeah.
Van der Ven only got me a point. Smith Rowe, he was a sub and he only got me a point. Watkins got me 2 points. Mo Salah, I mentioned last time round that he's on the chopping block.
Yeah.
He got me 3 points. He's firmly on that chopping
Yeah.
block. I'm thinking of shipping him out. So where did my points come from? So I got Pau Torres, first clean sheet of the season, got me 6 points.
Yeah.
Havertz got me 8 and Saka got me 16.
Yeah.
I got a -4 last week for bringing those two in. There's a reason why I did that. I expected returns and they have returned.
Yeah.
Brian and Mbuemo got me 8 points, although I'm not massively happy because if Brentford are scoring 5 and he's only scoring one of those 5, he needs to fix up. And then finally, Cole Palmer. The funny thing is, I did not flinch with Cole Palmer, putting him in as captain, even though I knew Nottingham Forest were going to park the bus against Chelsea. I just went with Cole Palmer because I'm expecting him to do something. He got an assist.
Yeah.
In hindsight, you might say, why didn't you go for Saka? It's because I'm sticking to my guns from last year.
Fair enough.
This is Palmer on a bad week getting an assist and 2 bonus points.
And can I just say as well, I saw a clip and someone had written something like, some players play the game, some players feel the game. And the clip he'd quote tweeted in this was Cole Palmer gets the ball. It comes at him fairly drilled in sort of, but so much drilled in so that the defender thinks he can nick it from him. The defender goes for it. Cole Palmer is playing, I don't know, seconds ahead of what's going on. He flicks it with one foot around the defender, takes it around the defender, second on his weaker right foot, good on shot target, comes back to him, another shot on target with his weaker foot, and it was a brilliant double save from the Forest keeper. If that went in, genuinely, that would have been, and this is not me comparing him to Bergkamp, but it was
Yeah,
Bergkamp-esque. He
yeah.
would took it round, he like knew what the how the picture was going to unfold and exactly what happened. But if it was on his left foot, I think he's putting that in. It was unreal piece of skill, an unreal piece of skill.
And what's crazy is he got a yellow card as well. So,
Yeah, but
so
I mean, this fickle stuff though. This is the thing, isn't it? Like, do you rue your luck not captaining Saka? Do I? You know, a few weeks ago, Havertz was on my chopping block, and I'm going in with Watkins and Haaland. Is my intended front two. But now all of a sudden, two blanks for Haaland. All of a sudden, I'm like, no, you know what? I'm keeping Havertz. At the same time with Jota, only a couple shows ago, Jota's off. Now all of a sudden, this is the thing. Are we? Is this the problem with FPL that
oh
we're
yeah, yeah. You
just
can't second
chasing?
guess yourself. Like, look
Yeah.
at Fulham, for example. Scored 2 goals
Mm,
against Man City, right? You're not expecting that, and then Smith Rowe's on the bench.
yeah.
Raul starts,
Mm,
but I'm expecting more from Smith Rowe than I am from Raul. But
yeah. Absolutely.
you can't second guess yourself. If I could have done something different, maybe not Levi Colwill, maybe looked at a bit more harder at the
Mm.
fixtures and also some of the data and got a defender more likely to get me points. But you can't second guess yourself. But it's all part of the fun.
It's all part of the frustration. It's
Yeah,
like this we're chasing this elusive consistency, high
yeah,
scoring
okay,
assets. That's the
yeah.
thing, isn't it? Yeah.
So let's talk about this, right?
Mm.
You talk about all of the players that you missed out on points, but Diogo Jota, he would have been out of your team if you didn't have priorities elsewhere. The only
Mm.
reason Jota's in your team is because you had to ship other players out in other positions. Otherwise,
Mm.
Jota would be out.
Yeah.
But Jota staying in is not, with all due respect, it's not skill. It's just,
It's luck.
yeah, it's like Jota is part of a number of midfielders who are doing well. And before we go into those midfielders,
Mm.
you've spoken about it since the start of the season about Haaland not having one of those weeks. And he's not had one of those weeks, 2 weeks on the bounce.
Absolutely.
And that's what dictates the low average point score because everyone's got Haaland apart from us.
Yeah.
So, what then happens is you've got to rely on your points from elsewhere. And, you were rewarded with Jota. I was rewarded with Mbuemo.
Mm.
But then you had Brennan Johnson, third game on the bounce, and
Wow.
Kovacic scoring a couple of goals out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So there's points to be had there, right?
There's points to be had. I feel like let's get into that midfield there because the discussion actually is going to break down between midfielders, defense, and strikers. But let's go on to midfielders first because one of the players of the season, FPL wise, certainly has got to be Brian Mbuemo. My guy, I was just talking about chasing that elusive, consistent, high scoring asset. He is consistent, he is high scoring, and he's at a very good price, although he's probably gone up. I don't even know what his
He's up to
latest is.
7.5.
A 7.5. Fantastic output from Brian Mbuemo in a Brentford team that has been but he still does it. He still
So,
does it.
so here's the question for you, right? With Brian Mbuemo, the last 2 seasons he scored 9 goals,
Mm,
and he's
God.
got 7 assists and nine assists. You might say, "Oh, those aren't earth-shattering numbers," but you got to look at the price,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Your third or fourth midfielder, if they get in those returns for you,
Mm,
and also you got to look at if he's going to play up top when Tony's not around, or this player that they've signed in place of Tony. I've got a very simple question. You're always talking about you love a player that's not listed in the
yeah.
correct position. So why haven't you had Mbuemo since
I
the start
feel,
of the
you know,
season?
I'll be very honest with you. I feel really bad if I took him because you've been his cheerleader this whole time, and I kind of did it with Bowen. I just slept on Bowen last time. Remember, you just had
You,
him from the start. I was like, nah. And the thing is, I can see Mbuemo doing bits. Why am I not? It's partly because, and I think this is a problem of my approach to FPL, is if they're in a poor team, I don't want to spend more money on them just because I don't know if that, and I don't think Brentford are great this season. You know, I've got Semenyo in, and Bournemouth aren't exactly setting the world alight, but he's like almost 2 million cheaper. So I'm like, okay, fine. And I think that plays into my thinking a little bit. Is the team that they operate in, and I think that that's probably my biggest issue here. That's probably my biggest issue here.
but then you've got Jota, who's back in form.
And then you've got Jota who's back here. You tell me, Luman, Liverpool wise, what's going on in that front? Does he? I saw someone say he basically plays off the strike, off the defense, like on the last line. He is almost a striker.
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that true? Is he getting more chance? I mean, this game he probably could have had 2 or 3, really.
100%. The thing about Jota is he's an all round attacker. He can drop into midfield. He presses a lot. Um, but with Jota, it was just one of those weird situations where he started the season in form, but then he went out of form.
Mm,
Where it wasn't like he was missing loads of chances. It just wasn't happening, and then it's happening again for him.
hmm
So
Was he out of form FPL wise, which he did go. He went,
yeah,
he started 8-6, then 1-3-1-0. Was that FPL form he was out of, or was that real life form? Was he just not actually
real
doing it as
life,
well?
just
Okay,
not
fine.
happening.
Okay.
Which is why there was the game against Bournemouth. We
Yeah, he
we
was
started
dropped,
with
wasn't he? He
Nunez.
was,
Yep, we
yes, yeah,
started with
yeah.
Nunez. So
Yeah.
there you go. But then we spoke last week on Dwight McNeil and sleeping on Dwight McNeil.
Yeah.
It looks like we slept on Brennan Johnson.
I again another one we've missed, and I've always actually liked Brennan Johnson as much as he plays for Spurs. I always think he's a good attacking threat, but the thing with Spurs is you think, oh, Son, that's what you think, and then you think Maddison, if anything, but actually this season Brennan Johnson has been, what's he got now, 3 goals and 2 assists. And, even in a game where Spurs were ultimate Spurs, 2-0 up in the 3-2 loss, he still scored a goal. And a well taken one, right foot I've seen him score, left foot I've seen him score. Now he gets in there. He's a good player. He's at 6.5 million. He's a very good in that sort of your second tier midfield that I think FPL managers will be looking at. I don't think you can trust Spurs, but if they're scoring goals and what you can trust Spurs to do is make chances, very much he'll be at the end of it. So I think we have missed out on Brennan Johnson points, actually. Does he go cold all of a sudden? He's got West Ham next,
Yeah.
Palace, Villa, Ipswich. That's a good run of fixtures for them. So yeah, Brennan Johnson. Which I saw a tweet as well saying the 4 Sons start for Tottenham: Maddison, Johnson, Son, and Richarlison. And then someone quote tweeted that after the game saying, yeah, but you'll still be trophyless season for Spurs.
Very good. Very good. I think Brennan Johnson is a really good example of every season, right? There's players who go through a purple patch.
Yeah.
Last season, it was Richarlison. I
Ah,
remember
yeah.
clearly he went through that purple patch.
Mm.
And it's just about capturing them in that purple. Again, it's
Yeah.
a lot of luck
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
you've got to catch them in that purple patch. I just think that Johnson is in a purple patch. I can't see him doing a whole season. Just like Kovacic. I mean, he scored those 2 goals, but you can't imagine him doing it every game, right? But the last thing I'd say on this is Palmer and Saka have been doing it.
Yeah.
Salah has also been doing it, but last couple of weeks been quiet. But some of the other ones have been horrendous. Son, Foden,
Mm.
KDB,
Yeah.
Bruno Fernandes. And because they've been so bad,
Yeah.
it just opens the door to a lot more budget midfielders. But
Absolutely.
in terms of defenders,
Oh.
I know you've got an interesting question, right? And
Mhm.
I've got an answer for you, which you might not be expecting.
My question is, all season we've been talking about Arsenal's premium defenders get even doubling up on Arsenal at the back, right? So obviously that stung managers who've done that the last two games. Arsenal, Leicester City conceded against, Southampton conceded against. And with no one has been really talking about getting in those Liverpool assets. Are Liverpool a better defensive team this season than we're giving them credit for? Are they even better than Arsenal?
I would say that beyond Kanate, it's really hard at this moment in time to get either Arsenal or Liverpool assets because with Liverpool, it's what I was saying before. You're catching them on that purple patch.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
5 clean sheets in 7 games is that purple patch, right?
That's
But then,
amazing.
but then you look at their next fixtures.
Yeah.
They are tricky. So it's a question of timing now. Arsenal are just, you tell me. I mean, I'm incredibly annoyed that David Raya, no clean sheets against Southampton and Leicester at home.
Yeah.
You tell me why they're not keeping clean sheets.
So you know what? Of course, I'm frustrated from an Arsenal fan perspective that we're conceding goals, and I'm frustrated because I've got Raya in, but I've only got that single David Raya. Didn't double up at the back. The thing that I'm slightly worried about is that we not so much against Leicester, although we conceded two. One was a worldie, one was a bit of a deflected fluky goal. The one against Southampton, we conceded chances. And that's what I'm more worried about. They scored a very good goal. It was a really good finish. But away from that, they had two very good chances elsewhere. And that's what I'm more worried about. We're conceding more chances. And I don't know if Liverpool are conceding as many chances as we are.
Liverpool are definitely more disciplined this season. I think
Mm-hmm.
what happened last season was the reason why I was downplaying title talk for Liverpool from the get-go is because we were conceding goals for fun last season, right? Liverpool were always conceding the first goal, and then our attackers bailed us out until the last couple of months when the goals dried up.
Yeah.
And then we fizzled out. This season, the goals have also dried up in terms of if you look at how many chances we're missing and the final pass.
Mm-hmm.
It's a concern. But at the back, we're a lot more solid.
Yeah.
Here's what I'm wondering about with Arsenal. Much is made about Declan Rice
Yeah.
and how good he is and blah blah blah. But if they're conceding goals with Declan Rice on the pitch, isn't the question that they're missing Odegaard and the control that he brings?
Possibly. It's a very, very good point because um, everyone was worried from an Arsenal perspective, like, how are we going to build going forward without Odegaard, right? And actually, we've been all right. We've still been scoring goals. And our XG, if you want to look at that, has been high still the last two games. It's been Leicester and Southampton, but, still, I think going backwards, I think we've missed Odegaard actually. His press, he's the trigger for our press, and he's excellent at it. And I think we have actually missed him from a defensive perspective, controlling games that way. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Makes a lot of sense. So Arsenal caught off guard without Odegaard.
Off guard without Odegaard, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But in answer to your question, Arsenal or Liverpool,
Mm.
the answer is Man United. You might be looking at me thinking, what's this guy on about? In the previous show or the show before that, I made an exaggerated point to say you could look at the league table at the end of the season and see that United have conceded 100 goals but kept 20 clean sheets, right? And the reason I made that exaggerated point is because United this season so far, 7 league games, they've conceded 8 goals,
Mm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
you might be thinking, wow, stay clear of that team.
Yeah.
But they've kept 4 clean sheets in 7 games,
Gosh.
one less than Liverpool.
Wow.
Yeah, and
Wow.
Andre Onana is the top scoring goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
the reason I'm saying Liverpool or Man United over Liverpool and Arsenal is because of the cost of their defenders.
Yeah.
You're getting clean sheet points without spending as much money. So if we look at this, right? Onana 39 points, Raya 36, and Allison 35, but Onana's £500,000 cheaper. The defenders, right? This is where it gets interesting. Trent 41, Gabriel 39, Konate 37, Virgil van Dijk 36, but then Dallo 35. Dallo's only 6 points off the top. And
Yeah.
he's costing 5.1 million.
Yeah.
The only issue with these United defenders at the moment is because of the rotation that was introduced. But if you stick a Dallo or a Mazraoui in there, who are the first choice now,
Yeah.
forget about it. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna load up now on United defensive assets because I've prepared myself for, right, these guys are gonna concede 10 in one game and keep 3 clean sheets the next. It's just insanity.
So
When
they
you think about
basically
it.
are they're a go big or go home in conceding wise. Either they concede a lot, which they conceded 3 to Tottenham, 3 to Liverpool, they conceded 2 against Brighton, or they just keep clean sheets by the
Yes.
looks of it.
Yes.
And I mean, if you're going to load up, why not load up in the next few fixtures? Brentford at home. We have spoken Brian and Mbuemo, but still West Ham away, Chelsea at home, Leicester, Ipswich, Everton. It's not bad, and you could see them making it difficult. I have looked at Mazraoui as well. A few weeks ago, I was getting out of Martinez, and I probably got out of him at the right time. But and I was looking long term at Mazraoui because I thought he was a bit more of an attacking threat as well. I've seen him get forward a bit as well. So the answer to the question, Arsenal defense or Liverpool defense, the answer is Man U defense.
Correct. The only player I'd consider from either Liverpool or Arsenal defensively is Konate because of the price.
The price, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go and talk about strikers now, Luman, because there's a few things. You went early on Dominic Solanke. You got burnt by Dominic Solanke. Since you've got rid of him, Dominic Solanke is turning into the best FPL asset. Not the best, but you know what I mean. He's keeps returning.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm not got as many regrets because I moved to get rid of him and get Havertz in, and Havertz has got me returns. So I'm not too worried about that. Solanke is gonna return now. Solanke is in that bucket with Havertz and Jackson, where you got 3 players of a similar price range. Who do you have in? So it's not too bad.
And
But
I think becomes a thing of who's playing at home. I feel like I mean, I put in Nico Jackson and he didn't do anything, this week. I mean, they're playing against a robust Forest team now. And this week it was Kai Havertz. Just another player in that bucket. And I don't know where he is, but Ollie Watkins. Like, he's more expensive, but he is as or less productive sometimes.
Yeah, the thing about Watkins is it's a lot of games this season, right?
Mm.
And that goes for Villa in general, which is why they've drawn the last 2 games.
Yeah.
Villa without Champions League would have been very interesting, but it's the intensity of the Champions League. Can you imagine how much they put into beating Bayern Munich?
Yeah, very good point.
Watkins, it stays for now. But the other interesting player at the moment is Liam Delap.
Yeah.
Who scored a goal and scored 2 goals in the last game, and he's gone up to 5.6 million.
Mm-hmm.
Great budget option.
Superb budget option. If you need money elsewhere to get in them premium midfielders or that premium striker and Erling Haaland, if you haven't already got him in, Liam Delap surely has got to be your accompaniment. Surely he's got to be up there with a few others. I mean, we want to talk about Delap, but Raul Jimenez, another assist for him. What an assist, by the way. I don't know if you've seen it. Backheeled over defender into that danger area and a good finish. But Liam Delap, if Ipswich are going to do something this season, he is going to have to be at the focal point of that. If Ipswich score, you're thinking he's going to score or at least get an assist in there. He's got 4 goals this season so far. And I like the look of him. And I'm just looking at his numbers. When he's been playing the last, 4 games, he played 82 minutes, 90 minutes, 72 minutes. He doesn't play a whole 90 every week. But as an accompanying striker, I like the look of him. And I've watched the highlights of him. He looks like it, he gets himself about. He's not a bad player. He reminds me a little bit of, was it Archer for, who was it? Burnley last
Sheffield
season?
United.
Sheffield United last season. Like, there are these players at these teams who are going to score goals, but just going to be really inconsistent. But they're going to be at the heart of their team. They're the best player from their team, probably.
Would you take Liam Delap over Michael Antonio?
Oh, Mikel Antonio got the highest score of any player this weekend, higher than Bukayo Saka, right? We have to talk about Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, and only played 69 minutes, Mikel Antonio.
Only played 69 minutes, 1 goal, 3 assists. He is the highest scoring player. He's only 2% ownership. The reason I have to steer clear of Mikel Antonio, as much as I have always historically kind of liked him, the reason I have to not think about him is he doesn't complete even close to 90 minutes. He has only had 1 assist in the previous 6 games, and then he puts in this performance. But can I tell you, I have never seen a hat-trick of assists credited to one man almost unfairly because he scored a goal. Fine. I'm not taking that away from him. Absolutely. His first assist was he headed it onto the bar. It came out to Kudus and he gets a goal. Fine. I'm not sure. It's not a direct assist. I wouldn't say. The second one, I was trying to think, where is the assist in this? He charges down the goalkeeper. I think it basically deflected off him, goes to Bowen, who then runs outside the penalty area into the penalty area, cuts back, scores. It's all Bowen, but Antonio gets the assist.
Yeah.
And the third one, Bowen puts in a cross. I swear it just goes through Antonio's legs. I don't even know if he touched it. There must have been a little nick somewhere, and it goes to the back post, and I can't remember who even scored it. And he gets 3 assists. It's the weirdest hat-trick of assists I've ever seen, Luman, and he ends up on 18 points.
It's just freakish, some of these games. But we spoke last week about how bad West Ham have been. Have they with this result, do you think they've turned enough of a corner for you to put faith in some of their players?
Bowen scored. Is Bowen coming back? You're just waiting for him to start again. Kudus again scored. Once those two start, then you're thinking, yes, West Ham. Then you're thinking, right, I'm going to go in on West Ham. I feel like I don't know what's happening at the back for them. And Ipswich at home, you'd think they should be keeping a clean sheet there. They've only had 2 wins this season. What are West Ham is a question I'm still asking myself, really.
Yeah, I think next week's show we'll be covering off the games after the international break. But did you have a question for the doctor today?
We have you are Dr. Luman Ali. That's how I introduce you every week. You're a doctor of history, but why not give your advice, your doctor advice to FPL managers out there? And I've got a question here. Dear doctor, I'm lying in bed next to my beautiful wife. The kids are fast asleep. We've got into bed early. The lights are off. You think you know where this is going, but you're wrong. I bid my wife good night, turn over, pull the blanket over me, and let the glow of my phone light up my face, and I get that late night endorphin rush as I tinker around with my FPL team. This is actually how I do my management every week, by the way. I'm looking at XG, upcoming fixtures, and I'm trying to justify why dibbling at Southampton is the differential I need to win my mini league. My question is, now there's an international break, what should I be using my time for instead?
It depends. If you've not already watched The Sopranos,
Yes,
then get on it.
get on it.
And if you've already watched The Sopranos, watch it again. The Sopranos, best TV show ever.
Wow.
Nothing comes close. It's my number one by a country mile. If you don't fancy drama, then watch Curb Your Enthusiasm for a whole lot of laughs. But that's what you should be doing.
And also, I should give a big plug. I said, what will this, our make believe, Dear Doctor advice question? He's like, what should he be scrolling around in bed watching? What he should be doing is subscribing to wherever you get your podcast. But also, Luman, we are content creators galore here. We're on YouTube now, so they can watch us in our our same regatta quarter zip fleeces.
Yep.
You can catch us on YouTube Shorts. We're going on. We went viral on TikTok, Lumen. We consistently get in the high hundreds, but last week or the week before, we got 70,000 views on one of ours. So we're going big, baby. We're going big. We're content creators galore now. I'm not sure if men in their near 40s, close to 40, can be young people. Can we be those content creators of the young people?
Of course you can. It's a mindset.
All right.
It's a mindset. It's simple as that.
All right. Well, during the international break then, I guess, where will we be?
We'll be there. We'll be there regardless.
We'll be there
whatever
regardless.
the weather, whatever the season, we'll be there.